Hello, guys. Good evening. I hope everyone is doing well today. We are in our continued learning of our Python interview series, and today will be the 14th video of this particular interview series. And thank you all for this amazing response we have got till this point. And this encourages us as a team to do more and to contribute more to the intellectual knowledge sharing of you people. And I'm very glad to contribute to the IT company. All right. So now, before we jump to the video, who are we? We are Data Valley, the fastest growing edtech company of 2025. And if you ask us what we do as a company, we offer you IT solutions, trainings, and placement support. What do I mean by IT solutions? So let's say you have a company and you need a talent pool of people who can meet your business requirements. So we have a talented and skilled group of people who can help you meet your business requirements. Okay, so we have a talented pool who is always ready to take your job as soon as possible. And then we also provide you with training support. So let's say you want to learn data analytics, data engineering, data science, Python developer, Selenium, Java, SQL, cybersecurity, ethical hacking, name whatever you want. So we have all these trainings covered in our institute. So we as a company can help you to get trained, and it is not just another training, but you'll be skilled enough to be so professional enough to take the job from day one. And we also provide you with 100% placement support. So once you get into our company, you don't have to worry about getting placed, because we will help you with 100% placement assistance. All right, now to our video. And before that, myself, Franklin, I have almost got 3+ years of experience as a data engineer, and me being an experienced professional. And these questions are not just any kind of random interview questions, but these are compilation of interview questions from different people, and from different time periods. So these are actually in demand asked questions in your interviews. Okay, so you all know the routine. Grab your coffee, have your notepad ready if you have the habit of taking notes. If not, feel free to have your PC turned on. Try to run the code as soon as I teach you, so that you will get an hands-on experience as well. All right, now to our video. So today we are starting our 14th video of this particular Python interview series. And if you have been paying attention, you'll be aware that this is the 8th video of this particular series, right? For the strings especially. It's the 14th video, but in context of string, it is the 8th video. And this is the second video for your string operations. Yesterday, we learned few about few string operations, isn't it? Like we learned about concatenation, we learned about how to perform and repetition, we learned about indexing operation as well. And today we'll be learning, diving a bit more deeper, and we'll be learning next three operations, like slicing, length, and membership test. All right, now let's jump to our video about explaining the slicing operation. So what is a slicing operation? If you all would have paid attention earlier, you all know what is a slicing, right? So slicing is like, just take it in a logical context. So if I ask you for a slice of a banana, what do? So you cut the banana, right? You cut the banana somewhere and you get the part of a slice, right? You give me a part of the fruit. So that's what is meant by slicing. So similarly, if you're talking in context to Python, okay, what happens with slicing is that you have a string, and with that string you will slice it somewhere. Okay, let's not talk about where you cut, how you cut. What I'm trying to tell here is, when you slice a string, you'll be able to extract a substring out of it. Okay, for example, let's say you have a string that is of a length 10, and now you slice it somewhere, and you're giving me a slice that has a length of 5, so that is becoming your substring, right? So the process of extracting a substring from a string is called as a slicing, and by definition it is a powerful operation that allows you to extract a portion of a string, creating a new substring. And to perform slicing, you have to use square bracket. It is as similar to your indexing operation. So what did you do in indexing operation? To access your element or to extract a particular element, you use square bracket, and within this square bracket, you state the index number, because for each element or each character you're going to have one index number for each. So if you provide that particular index number, you'll be able to access or extract that particular element, a character, right? So same with slicing operation. What you got to do is you use the same square brackets, and within the square brackets you write down your index numbers. And within this square bracket for indexing operation, you just use only one single integer number. But for slicing operation, the syntax is quite different. So if you see here, I've got start, end. So I've got three parameters there, isn't it? So unlike our indexing operation, which had just one, you have three parameters here. So what does this string represent? This string represents the string in which you are going to perform your slicing operation. Okay, the string can be anything. So a string will have an variable object name, right? So you will state that variable object or your string object name, and next to that you will put in your square brackets, and within the square bracket it takes up to three parameters, which are your start, end, and step. Now let's see what does these three parameters denote. This first parameter start is an optional parameter, so you can state it or you can be without stating it because it is an optional parameter. And then this starting parameter, it denotes the starting index of your slicing. So talking in our context to a banana slicing, you cut somewhere, right? For example, if I ask you give me half of the banana, you're going to slice it at the center of the banana. So you know the position where you have to cut it off. Similarly, when you provide the start parameter, you suggest that, okay, cut it from this particular portion, slice it from this starting index. So starting index denotes from where you need to start your slicing, basically. Okay, and the starting index is an inclusive parameter. What do I mean by inclusive parameter? So inclusive parameter is that, let's say you provide a starting parameter index position to be 3. Okay, so your Python string starts from indexing 0, right? So 0, 1, 2, 3. That's how it flows. Now when I say cut it from number 3, okay, the index number 3, what happens? It will include the element, it will include the string, it will include that particular substring from the position 3, and then it slices. Okay, so whatever the number you state, it is included while slicing. Because it is an optional parameter, there are chances you might omit it. So what would happen if you omit it? When you don't specify your start parameter, it defaults to number 0, which means that your slicing is going to start from the first position of your string or beginning of your string. Or in talking or in context to your indexing, your slicing starts from the position. All right, and now talking about the end parameter, the end parameter signifies where you're ending your slicing. Okay, so the above is a starting and the end parameter signifies the ending index of the slicing. So this end parameter is an exclusive parameter. So we learned what's an inclusive parameter, which is start. And now talking about the exclusive parameter, what happens is that, let's say I'm giving an end index position. Let's say it's 7. But does it include the element at 7? No. Okay. So whatever your end is, you're not going to include it because this is an exclusive parameter. And then, for example, let's talk in the context, okay, the same context. I ask you to slice it at 7, and you are stating the number 7 as your end parameter. And now what happens is that when you cut down on the 7, it wouldn't include the element at the 7. But instead, what happens is that you will cut down one element down. So how does it work? So when I state 7, it is always 7 minus 1, or it is end minus 1. So basically, when I say this formula, 7 minus 1, that is 6, right? So you will be able to access the element until your index position. Okay, so that's what I mean by your exclusive parameter. And what would be the scenario if you omit it, if you don't specify? When you don't specify what is your end parameter, what happens is that it will default to the end of your string. So as same as your start parameter, your end parameter will go till the end of your string. Okay, so default behavior for both of your start and end parameters, that they go till the start and the end of your. And off next we have our step function or step parameter. This step parameter is again an optional parameter. So what do I mean by an optional parameter? You can state it or you can be without stating it. It doesn't matter. But what does this actually define? So what would happen if I specify the parameter step? So what happens is that your step will define the interval between characters. So with your start and your end parameter, you will be able to select the length of your substring. So whatever the substring you want, you will specify the start position and your end position. That's what your start and your end parameter does. And what happens with your step is that whatever the slicing pieces, whatever the substring that you have chosen, so within that substring, you get to select the characters with the interval basis. Okay, so you define the interval between the characters that has been sliced upon. The default value is 1. So what do I mean by 1? So when the interval is 1, all the elements is inclusive. Okay, so there is not going to be any, ignore option, or there is not going to be any option to skip any of the elements. So when I say step, by default it is 1, right? So what happens? It goes to the first step, it will access the first element. It goes to the next step, it will access the next element. But what would be the scenario if I specify my step to be 2? If I specify my step to be 2, what happens is that one element get ignored. Okay, so all the element that is at your second position will be accessed, and all the other elements will be okay. So this happens between what you're choosing to slice. Okay, so for your start, you have your start and your end, and between the start and your end, you get to specify your end parameter. You get to state your step parameter. A step of 2 would include every second character, and so on. A negative step value can be used to slice the string in reverse order. So let's say you have a string. Okay, now you want to reverse it. How do you reverse it? You can change the integer value. So you all know about the positive indexing, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the positive index. So when talking about your negative index, okay, when you specify your step to be minus value, then what happens is that your value or your string gets reversed. Okay, so whatever it is, it will just get reversed. So be sure what you specify in your step value, because that defines what is the, what kind of reversal or what kind of order of the string that you're looking for. Now let's see how the slicing works. First, indexing. So you have to know what is indexing. We previously learned about it. In a Python string, all the elements, okay, even if it is 1 element or 5 elements, whatever the number you can have, all the elements are going to have an index number. Am I right? Feel free to drop your answers in the comment section, so that it feels like very interactive. So all the elements within a string will have an index position. And negative indexing can also be used, which means that if I start from the end, so your positive indexing starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And similarly, when you use negative indexing, you'll be able to access the last element. So your last element will have the value -1, the second last will have -2, and so on. It increases, right? -1, -2, -3, as it moves to your left hand side. So that's how your indexing works. First thing. And then the extraction. The slicing operation extracts characters from the start index up, but not including the end index based on the specific step. So we already know about it, isn't it? So I've already explained what is inclusive and what is an exclusive parameter. When talking about the slicing, it extracts the characters from the start index till the end index. Okay, so whatever number you state in your start, that will be inclusive, and whatever the value that you specify in the end, that is an exclusive parameter. So that particular value is not included, but it will include one value lesser to whatever is being specified in your end parameter. And new string. So what is this character? So slicing always returns a new string, and it does not modify your original string. So when I try to call in my slicing, you are not creating any new, sorry, you're not modifying your original string, but instead you are, you know you're just going to, create a new string that has the slicing that you want. Okay, so your original string is not modified, but you're creating a new string that is a substring extracted from your original string. So that's how your new string extraction happen. Now let's learn it in a few code implementation. so that you understand it better. At first off, I've got an empty string. So can we slice an empty string? That's the first question I would like to ask you. Can we slice an empty string? Or if I try to slice it, would it throw out an error? So what is the case here? Yes, you can. You can slice an empty string. But the point here is that it is of no use. Why is that? Because an empty string has nothing in it, right? Not even a space. So if you see here, it doesn't even have a space, right? So this is a space. Now you can see that it has got a space here. So you can see one dot there, so that is a space. But if I take it off, it's an empty string. So here is the key thing. So see the syntax here, how I done it. I'm calling the string in which I want to perform the slicing operation. So this is my empty string. I'm calling the string variable. And then I'm stating the start and the end parameter. 0 is to 5. Does it make sense? No, it doesn't make sense because you're trying to get an empty string out. So for an empty string, even the value at 0 is not present, but you're stating your start and your end parameter to be 0 is to 5. Now when I try to print it off, okay, so you can see that, oh sorry, I didn't run this. Okay, I ran my empty string. Now when I try to run this, you can see that I've got two spaces here, right? So it's an empty string here and there is another empty string here. So even extracting from an empty string would always return with an empty string, no matter what is your slicing parameter. Now, this is our basic slicing that I'm going to perform. So I've got here a string called as hello. What is the variable object? My string. So my string is equal to hello Python. And now I'm going to slice it from index 0 to 5. So I'm creating a new variable object called substring1 is equal to my string 0 is to 5. And now when I try to extract it, it must start from here, right? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But what have I said about the end parameter? Your end parameter is always end minus 1 or your n minus 1 parameter for your end. So it is 5 minus 1 is equal to 4. So your indexing stops at hello. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it stops here. So you'll be able to extract hello in this particular. Now let's run it. So if you see here, I've extracted a substring out from my original. Now let's see how what happens when you don't specify your end parameter. What is the default behavior? The default behavior is that it'll go till the end of the string, right? If you observe here, I've got a square bracket which is must for your indexing or your slicing operation, and within that I've given 7 is to and then an empty, right? So is to is like I'm just calling it like a casual way for colon. So when I say 7 is to z, I mean whatever the value I haven't specified, it defaults to the end of your string. So what happens is that your extraction starts from your position 7. Okay, so this is 5, this is 7. So your extraction starts from here and goes till the end. So your extracted value must be Python exclamation mark. All right, that's what we have got. Now let's see about slicing from the beginning. So we learned about specifying just your start parameter and not specifying your end parameter. Now let's see about not stating your beginning parameter but just your end parameter. Okay, so in here if you notice, I've got an empty space here, right? So by default what happens? By default the slicing starts from your beginning of the string. So unless when you don't specify your start parameter or unless you don't specify any numerical value or an integer, okay, or even an unknown integer, what happens is that your default behavior is that your extraction begins from the starting point, the first position of your string. So as same, it must start from here, right? H, it must start from here. And what I'm saying, I want it till 5. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So talking about 5, the end parameter is n minus 1. So it'll go till 4th. So I must be written with hell hyphen L. Right? Now let's run it. See, this is what I've got. For example, if I remove this hyphen here, the index position changes, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 minus 1, 4. So I'll be able to extract up to hello. Is that right? Yes, I've got it. And now let's talk about the full copy. So full copy is like extracting your full string basically. So whatever the string that is, you're trying to extract the full string. So how do you do that? So we learned about specifying your just your end parameter. We learned about just specifying your start parameter. So similarly, when you don't specify both of your starting and your end parameter, the default behavior is that your start parameter will start from the starting of the string, and your end parameter will go till the trailing end of a string. So now when I don't specify any of the value here, you can see that I'm just creating another copy of hello python exclamation mark. So if you see here, I've got hello python with an exclamation. Now let's talk about the negative index. So negative index will still work in your slicing operation. So as same as your positive indexing, where you specify the start position and your end position, you specify it in the positive way. What happens when I specify it in negative fashion? It starts from your trailing end of your string, right? It must actually start from the trailing end. So whatever the last value is, that will become -1. So -1 will have the character from the utmost end of your string. And what is -2? So now your string moves from your right to left side. Oh, sorry, from your, yeah, right to left side. So by that behavior, now the second last element will get the index -2. So same in that fashion, you can specify your values with the negative index. Now let's see what's happening here. Now I want hello python, and I do not know what is the index position for the exclamation mark. Okay, now an easier way to extract the last element of your string is by using an negative sign. Okay, and especially -1 signifies the last element of your. Now let's run it. I can see that I've got the exclamation mark, but what is the value I've provided? I provided a negative indexing -1. So when I say -1, it starts from here: -1, -2, -3, -4. It just comes from your end position. Okay, and positive indexing, it starts from your left hand side and moves to your right. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how it flows. Now you can see that I've got exclamation mark here. Similarly, not just for one element extraction, but you can denote it for your start and your end parameter as well. So my starting parameter is -7. So if you start from here, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, So my start parameter starts from P Python, and then my end parameter is -1. So it's an exclusive value, right? So I must be written with Python. You see that? So I've got Python here. And now let's see our behavior with the step function. So we learned about the starting and your end parameter with both positive indexing and your negative index. Now let's see what happens with the usage of step function. So I've got a string here that says A B C D E F G H I J K L M. Now what I want to do is I want 0 is to 10. So what does that mean? So it starts from your very first person. So I can be even without stating 0. Okay. So I want it from the start, go till the 10. Okay, whatever it is. I think somewhere around I. That should be, I think it is here, I or J. Now what I'm saying, I want it to be in a step of 2. So the slicing happens from your start to your index position 9. And then now what it does is that it steps by 2. So only whatever the character is at your second step will be taken into consideration for your extraction. Now let's see it. So if you see here, so I wanted it from the 0 is to 10, which is from the beginning. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9. Okay, so you will be able to extract your string from A to J. Now what I'm saying, I want the second character from here. So what happens is that A, B is skipped, C, D is skipped, E, F is skipped, H is skipped, I, and J will not be taken because that is the end. So you can see that that is how your step function. Now let's see how to reverse a step. So one common usage of using a step is not only to extract the character at a regular interval, but also about reversing yours. How do you reverse a string now? So whatever the string that I have, all I need to do is I just need to state a negative index value. Okay, so when I say -1, what happens with 1? When you say 1, your behavior of extraction starts from the position 0, right? So it flows in the forward direction. Similarly, when you say -1, the interval gets reversed. And when it reverses, what happens? You'll be able to access your element in a reverse fashion. So let's try to run this. Now if you see, I've got my hello Python, which is my original string, in a reversed fashion, right? Exclamation, NOTHYP space, comma, OLLEH. It has reversed my string entirely. It's like exactly quite opposite. And now, okay, we learnt about reversing using -1. Can I still use step function with reversal? So I want the string to be reversed, but at the same time, I want to perform the reversal as well and perform a step interval as well. So how do you do that? So you want to perform two things. One, reverse your string, and at the same time, when I have reversed it, I want to extract only the particular character with an interval. So what you do is, for example, in here I've stated -2. So based on this, I'm taking my full string, right? So here is my full string. And now when I say I want to reverse it and then use step function 2. So what happens here? You can see that I've got exclamation O, my letter N is skipped, right? So in here N is skipped, then H is skipped, then Y is skipped, then the space is skipped, O is skipped, L is skipped, H is. So leaving all that, my step function just takes in the only elements those are part of your slicing and those could escape the interval of your step parameter. And now explain your length operation. So this is the next one. The length operation for Python string refers to determining the number of characters within a given string that is achieved using the built-in length. So you want to check the length, or you want to determine the number of characters, or let's say you want to extract the number of characters, okay, whatever the number that is. So to that you can use your length operation, okay. And to perform your length operation you use the built-in length function. All right, now let's see how it works. The length function takes a single argument, which is the string whose length is to be determined. So what's happening here? Let's say I want to determine the length of a particular string. So what do I mean by it takes a one argument? So what I mean by it takes a single argument is that within the particular length function, you define what is the string that you're looking to check your size upon. Okay, so your string gets placed in the between the length function. Okay, so here is your length function, and within the length function you will be defining, okay, within the length function you will be defining your string upon which you are trying to get the length for. Character count, it returns an integer representing the total count of characters in the string. This count includes all characters such as letters, numbers, symbols, white spaces, including spaces, tabs, new lines, and even escape sequences like \n for new line, which counts as one character. So whatever the element that can be within a string, okay, it can be a space, it can be a number, it can be a space, it can be a character. So whatever that is, okay, those will be taken into consideration. So it is not going to skip any of the elements. All right, so that is what I'm trying to say to you. So any of your characters will not be skipped, and even if it is a new line character, those will be taken. Okay. Unicode handling. Python 3 handles string as sequences of Unicode characters. So whatever you have in your string, those are actually considered as an Unicode of, okay. This means that length function counts the number of Unicode code points, not the number of points. So because your strings, okay, whatever is in your strings are considered as an sequence of Unicode character, what happens is that you are going to get the count of Unicode code points, not the number of. This is crucial for handling text containing characters from various languages that might require multiple bytes for their representation. So when you use a different language, when you have a string that is of a different different language, or of a different, because with different language your character looks different, isn't it? It's not just English. So even if you specify anything within a string variable, that becomes a string, right? So how do you even call it? So when you use a different language or a different letter, what happens is that you are converting them as a sequence of Unicode character, and therefore you will be able to count the number of Unicode code points and not the bytes, and therefore it is helping you to handle the text containing characters from various languages that might require multiple bytes for their representation. For example, The Chinese character would have a length of 2, even if each character internally uses multiple bytes. So for the each character here, they might have a different, okay, each might have a different byte length. So now when you use this Chinese language, those will be converted to an unique sequence of Unicode characters. Therefore, you get to have the count of your Unicode code points. Now let's learn this in code implementation. So I've got here a string called myString. So myString is equal to hello world exclamation mark. And then I'm calling a new variable called length. And if you remember, this is how we denote our syntax. So how do you represent your length function? Length, and within the bracket you specify an argument. So what is this argument about? This argument specifies the name of a string. So my string is the length. My string is a string for which I would like to guess to know the length. So inside length, I'll state my string name. Now when I print this, it gives me the length of my string. So the length of this particular string is 13. Are we sure about it? Let's check it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So a space is included, a comma is included, a exclamation is taken into account. So taking all the characters within your string, your sizes, so there are key points that we need to remember. The length function is fundamental and efficient way to obtain the length of a string in Python. It provides the count of Unicode characters, ensuring correct length determination for diverse text data. It is widely used operation in string manipulation, indexing, slicing, and validation. All right. What do I mean by validation tasks? Let's say you're taking an input from your user, okay, and your user needs to enter at least acquired number of characters. Let's say you are asking for the date of birth, okay, or let's say you're asking for a name from a customer, and you know that at least a name should have 3 characters, right? It cannot be 2 characters. So when you ask for a 3 worded string at least, so only if you are given out an error, if they are giving out the wrong information, then you'll be able to get the correct data. So you are basically performing an validation check. So how are you doing the validation check here? Let's say the customer is giving just 2 letters, TU, okay, that is the name he is providing, but his system is not ready to accept it. Why? How is that possible? So in this case, the customer has to give his original name, or combine his names to get a bigger name. So the concept here is you are performing an validation check. Now let's try to play around with few more coding examples. So I've gotten here an empty string. Let's see what is the behavior for our empty string. So what does an empty string have? The length of the empty string is always 0, isn't it? True or false? It's true, isn't it? Now when I try to check the length of this particular empty string, it must return me 0. Yes, it has returned me. And why it has returned me 0? An empty string contains no characters, so its length is 0. String with special characters and white spaces. So I've got another string that has double white spaces, has a backslash t which represents a tab. I've got a backslash n here which denotes a new line. Now let's see how this Python code handles the length of this particular string. So if you see here, I've got the length of Python programming is 21. But do you think that's right? Let's check it out. 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So that is pretty much straight, right? So whatever values you have got, you are able to actually include the Unicode as well. The length function counts all characters including the leading spaces, tab and new line character. Yes, we have seen it. Now here are few important points you need to remember about your length function. The length function is crucial for various tasks in string manipulation and data validation, such as input validation, checking if user input meets specific length requirements. Example, password length. Okay, so let's say you have a database, customer is inputting his name, and you're asking at least for a 8 length password. So what if I put in a new password that is only of a length 6? So you can perform a validation checks. Okay, you can make sure that your specific length requirement has been. Text processing, determining string lengths of formatting, truncation, or analysis. So you are able to determine the length of a string. Okay, not just for any string. You also can do further process like formatting, truncation, or even for analysis, looping and indexing, iterating through strings or accessing specific characters based on their position. So you're not going to have, it's like, so you're basically having an iteration through your string, and then you'll be able to access these specific characters based on the position. So what are the position that you are in? Okay, your looping and indexing goes one by one for all your. Okay, now let's talk about our third method for today, or the third operation. What is membership testing and how it is done in our string? So that is the question. Python membership test operators in and not in are used to determine if a specific value or substring exists within a. Okay, so by membership testing, for example, you are asking if Frank is a part of a Python club. So if I'm a member, what I would say? If I'm a member, I would say yes, I'm part of it, and therefore you'll be returned with true, right? Because I'm a member. So similarly, within the context of Python, what you do is you check for a string against a string. So for example, let's say you are checking for the letter P against the word Python. So does the word Python has P in it? So you are membership testing it, and you are finding it to be true. All right, so that is the point of using the membership operators in your Python string. And these Python membership testing, they use two text operators. Okay, they are in and not in. So you have two operators called in and not in, which we will be covering in detail. Okay, and these in and not in operator are used to determine if a specific value or a substring exists within a. So based on your in and not in operator, you will be able to determine if the particular value that you're looking for is present within a. Now, what is these membership testing operators return you with? They return either true or a false. So depending on the use case scenario, okay, depending on your output, depending on your outcome of your particular search, so you will be returned with true or false. I'm not going to explain you true or false now straight away, because for both of your operator in and not in, your output gets differed. So I'll explain this true or false depending on the operators that we are using. Okay, so that's why I haven't generally explained it. The first thing that we are going to look in for is an in operator. What is an in operator? The in operator checks for the presence of substring within a larger string. So you have a string. Let's say Python is fun, and now you want to check for a substring against this string. So you are checking if fun is present in your original string. Do we have it? So in that case, you're verifying the presence. You're verifying the presence. So that is the point of using your in operator. And the syntax is substring in main string. So what is this substring? So substring denotes what substring are you trying to look in your main string. Okay, so if you're looking for particular word in a particular string, so this in is your presence operator. So this membership operator which checks for your presence must be used between your substring and your main string. Let's talk about the behavior. It returns true if substring is found anywhere within main string and false otherwise. And this comparison is case sensitive. Okay, so you will be returned with true if substring is found. So what do I mean by true in this context? So let's say you are looking for a presence, so you're using in operator. If the letter P is present in Python, then you are returned with the true. The letter P is not found within the word Frank, then you are returned with a false. So if you have presence, it is true. If you don't have presence, it is false. And this comparison is case sensitive. So this is a key thing that you need to keep in mind. Okay, the comparison is case sensitive. Now let's see this in our code implementation. Here I've got a string called my string which states hello Python. Now what I want to do is I want to check Python is present in the string. Do we actually have it? Our string has Python in it, right? Now I'll check it if Python is present in the string. So result 1 is equal to, look for the syntax here, substring in our original string. So what is the substring here? Python. And if you notice, I have stated within the double quotes because this is a string I'm looking for. And in my string, why I have used my string without a double quotation? The reason is I'm passing in as a variable, not as a string. So if I pass this, then it makes sense I have to put double quotation. But because I'm passing this variable here, I have to put my string. Okay. And now let's check it. Yes, the word Python is present within the my string. And my string says hello Python. And see, Python matches with the Python. Therefore, the presence becomes true in this. Now let's check if the word world is present in the Python. Do we have it? No, because our original string says that hello Python, not hello world. So now when I try to check for the word world in my string, it will return me with false. So I've got a false value here. Alright. Now, can we check for a single character? We can check for a single character. Now what I'll do is, I'll check for the single character H in my string. Do we have it? Yes. So hello Python. In hello we have the capital H. So can we check for a single character? Yes, we can. So when I try to check it, it is giving me true. And now can we check for a substring, not a complete word? So previously we saw Python world, it's a full word, right? But what are the probability of checking for a particular substring? Now let's try that as well. So I'm extracting this LLO, okay? So my original string has hello Python, and I will take in this LLO and I'll check if this word LLO is in my string. Is it present? Yes, it is present. So I'll be written with the true value. Now, as I said earlier, your in operator, your membership testing is based on case sensitivity. So even if they might be the same word, but one is of lowercase and the other one is of an uppercase, even if it's a single letter for a word, then they do not match and you're going to be shown that your presence is missing. Okay. So now so what is my original string saying? It says hello Python with P to be capital. So Python P is capital. Now when I try to check lowercase Python is in my string, it is giving me. So be sure what you're testing and how you're testing it. Now let's look into our not an operator. This not an operator is quite opposite to our in operator. So in operator you check for the presence of a particular value, and in your not in operator you check for the absence of a particular substring. Okay. So for in operator you check the presence, and for your not in operator you check for your absence. The not in operator checks for the absence of a substring within a larger string, and the syntax is substring not in main string. So substring and main string are as same as your in operator, but what is changing here? You are changing it to not in. So not in is your key operating word here. Talking about the behavior, it returns true if substring is not found anywhere within the main string and false otherwise. So whenever you are trying to check your substring, the element is not found. If the particular substring is not found, then you are written with a true value. In case if you have a particular string, in case if you have a particular substring, in case if you have a particular character or a element, in that case you will be written with a false. So when you don't have it, you will be written true. When you have it, you will be written with a false value. And this comparison is case sensitive as well. Now let's try to learn this in our code implementation. I've gotten here another string called as hello. Okay, let's run this. So I'm creating it for a variable another string. Now what I'll do is I'll check if Java is not in the string. Do we have Java in this? No, it says hello Python, not Java. So when I try to check if Java not in my string, so please do pay attention for your syntax. So this is a substring Java, not in is my operator and my string here. So when I try to check this now, it must return me true. You might be wondering why. So do not confuse with your in operator and your not in operator. For example, the same thing for your in operator, you'll be getting a different scenario. Okay. So for example, in this one, I'll change the syntax here. So not in to in. Now when I run this, it says false. Okay. So as long your absence is there, then it is true. But when you're checking for the presence, then that is all right. And then next example, check if hello is not in the string. Okay. Do we have hello? Yes, we do have hello in our original string. And now when I'm trying to check if hello is not in the string, then in this case, what will be our answer? Please drop your answers in the comment section. So I'm saying hello not in my string, but do we have it? So in this case, I'll be written with, okay. So when an absence is there, then I'll be getting the particular, okay. And next, check for a single character not present. So now what I'll do is I'll check if the particular letter is present or not. So do I have Z in my original string? Do I have original? Do I have set? Feel free to drop your answers in the comments. No. You see here, I've got hello Python, and there is not even lowercase z. And now when I try to check it, what will happen? I'm checking if z is not. So this conditions become true. So I'm checking if the particular character is absent. Therefore, I am written with the true value. Okay. Now check for a substring. Now it's not just a character, we'll check for a substring. Our original string has hello Python, right? And does it have ELLO? Yes, it does. And now when I try to check this, okay, I'm checking if the particular substring is not in, but is it is present? Yes, it is present. Therefore, when I try to run this, what will be my output? It will return me false because ELLO is present. Now let's check for the case sensitivity. In here, I'm checking if THON is not in my string. So if you take our original string, Python. So I've got THON, but T is of a lowercase. Now what I'm doing, I'm checking for capital THON. So what would happen? So though they are of the same character, though they are of the same word, but because their cases doesn't match, one is uppercase and the other one is lowercase, so I'll be written with the true value here. Okay, so true is my output. And why is that? Because it is not present in us. Key points to remember: case sensitivity. Both in and not an operator perform case sensitive comparison. So small letter h is not same as your uppercase. And then substring matching. These operators look for exact matches of the entire substring provided. So you have a substring, your full substring is looked for it. Okay, it's not just part. So they, and exactly as we saw earlier, case sensitivity comes into play as well, and then it checks for the exact matches of your particular substring as well. Okay, all right. And the boolean output, the result of the membership test is always a boolean value, making them suitable for use in conditional statements. So whatever your result of your membership test is, okay, you always check for the boolean value, and the result of this boolean value can be used for your conditional statements like if, elif, and also these value can be used for your looping operation as well. All right, so that is how you use your membership testing to, you know uh, to get the better for your Python coding. So like validation checks, like comparisons, like the boolean output, whatever it is required for. So you can perform membership testing to check for the presence and the absence as well. So presence is for in operator and absence is for your not an operator. Then what did we learn earlier? We learned about the length operator. This length operator is used to check for the length of your particular string size. And what is the benefit of checking the length of your? It helps us to perform a validation check, right? For example, a password, for example, a user input, for example, a username. So you want to have certain characters in your database. So in that case, you can use this length function to perform a validation check. Then we learned about the slicing operation. So slicing operation is used to create a new string that has a particular substring in it. So it has three parameters: the start, end, and step. Start parameter, where do you start? End parameter, where you end it, but this is an exclusive parameter. And then step. So how many step intervals would you like to have in your within your slice? So that is all for today. I hope this session was very beneficial and useful to you. All right. Before we finish, who are we? We are Data Valley, and we are the fastest growing edtech company of 2025. And what do we offer? We offer you with IT solutions, trainings, and placement support. And we have our headquarters in Hyderabad, and we have our headquarters in United Kingdom and US as well. So if you are someone around these regions, feel free to ring to the numbers that's shown in the display here, and our colleague will be able to support you in your career progression. All right, and we are soon expanding to Chennai, West Bengal, Karnataka, Delhi as well. So do offer your support, and if you want any kind of support in relevance to your career, feel free to ask to our colleagues within the Data Valley, and they'll be more than happy to help you. So thank you all for joining. I hope this session was useful. Revise it again if you don't feel comfortable with any of these concepts. And if you have any questions, drop your questions in the comment section as well. So I'll try to address it in at least the next video, or at least in the comment sections. My team will be able to help you. So do give a thumbs up, and also click the bell icon so that you don't miss out on the regular updates from this channel. Thank you. Bye bye. Take care. All have a good evening.